I'm from Italy, and I had a very diverse work experience back home. I used to teach Italian to foreigners, and I used to give guidance about work and education opportunities. I was like a sort of Casper, but in an Italian setting, which is extremely funny. And then that was my dream job, the career I wanted to follow. And then on the side, I was doing some proofreading and editing work in a small publishing house. And that was something that was really nice to do, but I knew that I couldn't earn a living out of it. So it was a really nice activity, but yeah, I couldn't afford to pay my rent if I had to rely on that activity. And then, as a student, of course, I did a lot of odd jobs. I used to work as a waitress, and that was at some point my main source of income. And that's why I could pay my studies and cover my expenses. So, something you wouldn't like to do, but you had to. That's the reason, yeah, why I had to take that job. But what happened when I left my country and moved to Denmark? The easiest way for a newcomer to enter the job market is, to get an odd job. But I was lucky enough to find a job as a tourist assistant and guide, and I started in 2012. It was my first year working for just one company, dealing mainly with Italian tourists. And then the following year, I was working for 3 companies, and then with people from different countries. And I also had some, tasks that required more responsibility. And then, this summer I will, if I can make it, I will work for 4 companies, and then I will also coordinate a team of 4 for an Italian agency. So that's my plan for, this kind of job I'm having at the moment. And this is just a good example, of a job that you're not so keen to take, but it's good to have anyway. It shouldn't be, I think, that much demanding. It shouldn't occupy your brain that much. It would be great if it was fun, and it's important that you use the skills you already have, so that you don't have to think about some new things to learn and so on. At the same time, you will find out that you can develop new skills. I learned a lot on working with people, for example, doing this job. You earn good money, and you get in contact with a lot of people. And then that's pretty interesting, because I found out that thanks to this experience I had, I could apply for a position that was available at my current workplace, and I was one of the 10 persons selected, and I went to the interview among 300 applicants. Just because I knew something about working in the tourism here in Denmark, I knew how the airport, working at the airport works, so that's something I didn't think about when I accepted that job. But then and then something I could also tell you about, the Eurovision Song Contest, which is coming up in May. Because I had this experience, I was asked, no. I was asked to work to coordinate the Italian delegation at the coming for the Eurovision Song Contest. Just because I knew something about Denmark from a tourist point of view. So that's pretty amazing. I didn't expect that, and you never know. So if we go back to the overview, you remember that I had some experience with proofreading and editing. Here in Denmark, if you know something about that, you could go to the next level, which is doing some translation, for example, and localization. So I got in contact with a small startup as an intern. I wasn't paid, but I was responsible for translating their platform from English to Italian and do localization work, which requires a lot of research. So in addition to build on my skills, I was studying from editing, proofreading, and then I did some localization and translation work. And then I've also learned a lot about how to make market research, for example. I hadn't done before, but I was there and I did that. And then I researched all the legal stuff and tax regulations, for example, something I wouldn't expect. And then if we go back to the overview and we take the other branch, what about my dream job or the career I want to pursue here in Denmark? I was teaching a language and then I was also working with foreigners. So I thought I could get in contact with a language school, and I did that. And I used to volunteer, as you did, organizing events, cross-cultural events, where we offered, we presented 2 or 3 languages, cultures at night, each night. And of course, I learned a lot about event management doing that. And I would say that helped me a lot land my first paid job here in Denmark. That was the one I had as event and project coordinator at International House Copenhagen. Of course, the second reason why I got this job, I think, and the main reason maybe, was that I knew how it is to be a newcomer. I had experienced that, and I knew basically already all the services that then have been gathered inside the International House. So I knew all the people, I knew what they could offer, I knew basically everything about them. And in turn, I learned a lot about immigration law, for example, which is something I was really interested in, and I was involved in a lot of projects, mainly with the voluntary sector in Denmark. And that, of course, gave me the opportunity to build my knowledge and my skills and land the second job, which is the one I have now. I'm not anymore, at the International House working with foreigners and international citizens, but I'm working at the Danish normal citizens service, where I have the possibility to expand my knowledge about, basically anything regarding, daily life in Denmark. I'm working in Danish at the moment, not in English anymore, and I have the chance to build on my skills again and do something I really like, I really appreciate. So this is basically my process. And then if I can give you some maybe final tips, I would say be curious. And by that I mean you should know your possibilities, your options. Go and ask questions and you will find people there ready to help you. As soon as you know something, share it with all the others and help them. And then remember that you have a lot of abilities and everything can be useful and can be used. So you really need to use everything you have in your pocket and develop it as much as you can. And I think if you are proactive and if you really, want to do it, you will succeed. That's my advice. And then, you can get in contact with me, and then, I'm here to help you and reply to some questions if needed. Yeah.